kick it? Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it?
And that's our culture. It's that symbolic culture comes with the technology, comes with the beginning of culture. That it really is the beginning of symbolic culture, this superlineal culture that starts technology, which is essentially agriculture itself, or totalitarian agriculture, as Daniel Quinn would say.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it basically means we're looking at things as like means to an end, you know, which I think is a major problem, and that I guess this is our fundamental difference. You call it superlineal. Is this sort of like almost like a hyper abstraction or like symbolic to the point where it's disconnected? You would say. I don't know.
That's how he described it, at least.
Okay.
He described it versus superlineal.
Yeah, because then that definitely makes sense, and it makes sense why it's been a long time in the making for the internet and these discussions to actually come to a real life fruition. Because, as you say, we can just talk about all this stuff as much as we want, but if we don't do something about it, if we don't actually come together and act. So I guess this is the rift, and this is sort of like our cultural ecology at work right here. This superlineal mentality that ideas are separate from nature. You know, maybe. I mean, this is tricky because how would people come to try to create a space for craft more? You know, and I guess maybe. To some degree, do you think maybe like YouTube and the Creative Commons and places like that are trying to do that, to try to make this more of a space where it does amplify a native talent, like, you know, art, song, music, media?
Well, they're trying to make a democratic space, and I guess an egalitarian space in this like very abstracted, let's say we have, to me, like, I have no idea how any of this is functioning and how I'm talking to you at all right now, and you know, we're not breathing the same air. It's extremely odd, and yet, you know, it is helping us. Like, I owe a big debt to the internet, but then again, I don't support the overarching techno structure that it enables it.
Yeah.
But I think people are trying to wrestle it in. You know, that's why everyone is staunchly standing on the side of free internet, rather than corporate control, etc. And then you get interesting stuff like Anonymous existing.
Yeah.
You know, like anonymous cyber people. It's like it's the new revolutionary army on the cyber front.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird, but it's like WikiLeaks, for example, too, and how they expose, you know, military scandals and things to that nature and that degree. It's, I guess you could say that's. I wouldn't say it's amplifying our native talents, but it certainly is exposing the dirt and hierarchical structures and the corruption. Because I'm sure, like, you know, 1,000 years ago, you might be able to call a king corrupt, but what could you really do? You know, like, they have all the power, they have all the rules, they can behead you, you know. And now we sort of have this democratic state where we sort of have, I don't know. I guess you could say we kind of live in an oligarchy, though, because of all the corporations that basically own the government and all of that. But still, we really are like a sleeping giant sort of thing, you know, because we just need the. I guess it's a combination, maybe, of craft and technology, because we have these native abilities to do these sort of things and to collaborate and come together, but we don't have the means yet, again, you know what I mean? Like, we kind of have this stumbling block where we still live in this hyper-symbolic, hierarchical structure where we have to climb the ladder to get anything done. but now there's a resistance to that. So I don't know. It's this kind of dance, I guess, between those two.
Well,
But,
I think the levels are, we're trying to take the power back, right?
Mhm.
This is what, you know, all these things are about. But the critique is really, yeah, take the power back and then give it out forever.
yeah.
The sort of issue is give up the power. And that's in no way immediate, and that's no way saying, you know, we can't use these technologies to do that. Jensen was always like, you can use whatever fucking hammer to knock down the house. It doesn't matter. You can use whoever's tools. The question is the house knocked down?
Yeah.
Then you can put down the hammer, but use it for now. So what we have to do is we, you know, not so much take out back the power, but, you know, remove our power from their control. It's, I'm opting out. Goodbye. You can't take my power, you know, whether it's tax dollars or my working at some office somewhere, or it's my paying into your grid plan, etc. I'm on my own. You know,
Yeah.
eventually, without all the peons, you fall because you're just made up of people.
Mhm.
Nothing more than people. So, once we all go beyond civilization, there is no civilization.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting idea. How do you think we could do that? Like, in your readings and what you've studied, what is the answer to that? What are possible roads that we can take towards that?
There's lots of movements that I think, if we look at it through this lens, can just be counted as part of this. You know, there's the transition town movement, which is creating these self-sufficient towns for people to opt out of modern urban culture. There's you know, eco-villages going up all over the world. There's permaculture, which is, I think, one of the ways we can get out of our food issue, because it's so intensely efficient, as well as not denuding the soil. There is the whole Earthship movements, and my friends and I were going to. My friends are. I have a couple friends who are into environmental engineering, and they wanted to go out and build houses, which you can do. You can volunteer. If you live in Arizona, you can probably just like walk over and see them. There's you know, appropriate technology, all that kind of people chilling around. There's Indus Farm. There's what, you know, Adam's doing, which, you know, trying to localize his house, trying to create, relocalize his coffee shop to teas, so he doesn't have to import stuff from the Amazon. Trying to create, you know, communities to have, you know, resilience, to have a sense of taking back what matters in life, not giving up. You know, we're really just giving trinkets, you know. You know, this is all well and good, but, you know, I'd rather be you chilling over here.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So this is sort of like, this is, you would say, I guess the internet is a step in that direction too, but it's not that yet. You know, it's amplifying these. I like that. I like the word that you used, resilience, because it seems like that's sort of symbolic of what we're all aiming for. I know you were watching that Thompson video on you know, on what was it called again?
About he was reading from his book, The American, I think, Creation. It was The American Replacement of Nature.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want that, really. We I guess our generation, at least, because I'm not too happy about everything being plastic. I love technology, but, you know, it only is so fulfilling and so enlivening, because there's really a difference between, like, for instance, reading a book and then reading it on, I don't know, a Kindle or a Nook or something like that, or, you know, eating a home-cooked meal and getting, you know, McDonald's. It's tasty, but it's so empty, and this is the sort of I think this is like symbolic of the very difference we're talking about. Like,
all the people who can quest like a tribe does. Before this, did you really know what I was? Comprehend.